Our next guest making a plea to business and to his own political party to ensure that AI does not leave the middle class behind. Let's bring in Congressman Khanna of California, whose district is in the heart of Silicon Valley. And Congressman, it's good to see you. Before we get to AI, it says here we want to ask you about the emerging spending deal in D.C. And I guess I also want to point out, I think we've missed some filing deadlines if we were going to ever really do anything with Rojo or Joe Roe. It's too late, probably, right? There's a lot of people that wish there were alternatives, Congressman. I think we've missed our chance.
Well, Joe, you didn't make the move. I was waiting for the call. I was waiting to be
That's because you kept wanting me to be on the top of the ticket, and I don't want to work nearly. I want that cushy VP job. I've told you that before. What do you think of this? I mean, I'm not worried. I'm not sure I'm worried about the Democrats for this deal. I'm worried about the flank that Speaker Johnson might not be able to control for this latest deal of $1.6 trillion.
Look, I'm going to support the deal. I've known Speaker Johnson. We came into Congress together. We have strong disagreements on many issues, but he was willing to sit down and compromise. Is there everything in this deal that I agree with? No. Are some of the spending cuts on issues more than I would want? Yes. But in a democracy with 435 people, you compromise and you keep government open and functioning. And I think the big question, as you identified, is the 20 to 30 folks in the Freedom Caucus, are they going to let Johnson do this deal? And are they going to then let him keep his job?
I'm going to just needle you a little bit here. That's what we do, though, isn't it? We have that kind of relationship. In terms of AI, you say that the Democratic Party cannot claim to be the party of the working class if we allow AI to erode the earnings and security of the working class. And my question is, can you really claim to be the party of the working class when you spend so much money that inflation just goes out of control for 3 or 4 years, so that people are actually the middle class are actually making less money than they were making 3 or 4 years ago? I don't think you can really claim to be the party of the working class.
Well, look, we've done a lot to bring back manufacturing jobs in this country. We've done a lot to try to reverse the trend of offshoring to China. We put money in people's pockets with the stimulus checks to give people a child tax credit and help them make payments. Now, it's right that we had inflation. I'm not going to deny that. That was both parties over 4 years to get out of COVID. And finally, now real wages are going up. I mean, it wasn't going up for the first couple of years, but I'm not going to deny that people, when they're sitting at the grocery line, that they've had higher prices. And that was one of the challenges of managing COVID.
I always make that point, sort of tongue in cheek, that, the path to hell, we all want to help people, but if the policies that we do with good intentions end up, hurting the people you're trying to help, a lot of times that doesn't get, I don't know, I think that feeling virtuous on the way in sometimes messes us up in terms of really the outcomes. But that's a discussion for a later time. As far as AI, you are right. And if anybody is going to get screwed, it's probably going to be the middle class from AI. Just the same way as you said, from globalization. How can we prevent that?
Well, there are two ways of doing AI, and Eric Bajaffelson at MIT has a great piece on that. Either you could use AI to help people become better workers, to enhance human capability, or you could just use AI to try to eliminate jobs and eliminate payroll. And I think we've got to be very intentional about saying, how are we going to involve employees in getting better credentialing and looking at where they can be trained for new roles and having them have input on how AI is going to make them better, than just saying, let's have AI do your job and not think about it. I like having a conversation with you, Joe. I don't want to come here and have an AI version of Joe ask me to be on their ticket. And the question is, how do we have people like you be enhanced as opposed to replaced?
Yeah, it's a tough one, bro. And when you let something out of the bottle, it's almost like you can't really control. We thought that, gain of function research was a good idea so we could prevent the next pandemic. And we may have ended up causing a pandemic. And technology is very powerful. And if you can't see into the future, sometimes you don't know where the pitfalls really are. Do you have a good grasp of how we need to control AI from here and what kind of guardrails we need?
Look, I have enough humility to tell you that no one knows fully what the consequences are going to be, but there's going to be a lot of benefit. I mean, people now can get personalized medicine, figure out what's wrong with them, and treatment that really is tailored to their needs. There's going to be a huge boon in production. Education can improve with some of the tools. But there are two places that I would focus on. One, to have guardrails and making sure that these systems are safe and there's always a human decision maker, that we're not just automating and taking out the human decision maker. And secondly, that the employees that are being affected, the workers that are being affected, are being consulted in the design of these tools, that you don't just have Harvard MBAs who you made the decision, oh, let's just have offshoring to China come in and say, let's just figure out how do we eliminate payroll without thinking about a company's culture, productivity, and using these tools to enhance human initiative.
How do you think that this is going? Is it a slam dunk that income inequality is going to be worsened if AI takes over, Ro? Is that, you just assume that's the case?
No, I don't. And that would be really sad for the country, given that income inequality has been increasing. Look, there's certain things that may make it easier. Now you don't have to learn complex coding, complex math to be able to use machines. And so if we introduced basic technology education in all our schools, people actually may be able to acquire new skills and use technology in ways that are far easier and far more accessible than they used to be. But we've got to get that kind of education everywhere. You come to my district and people are very, very, very optimistic about the future. And I guess my question is, why is that just in a few districts in this country? How do we get the education and opportunity more distributed?